Here we are again. It is full moon in Aquarius right now. It happened about an hour ago. I'm just recording right now because it feels, I don't know, it feels kind of good to record an update for you when the lunation is happening. So when the full moon is happening. So I kind of like that. I like to write ahead of time, like I did in the Cosmic Guide. And actually, I want to read to you what I wrote about this full moon. It says, full moon in Aquarius, July 29th. This full moon can feel eclipsy because it is the full moon that completes the cycle started with the first eclipse of the year, the new moon / solar eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th. This is a powerfully revealing full moon that can bring to light the meaning of creativity in the face of cold, detached power. Welcome to this space. If you've never been here, my name is Vanessa, and I am the astrologer behind Creative Astrology. And Creative Astrology is one of my babies, in a way, to call it somehow. Creative Astrology is one of my children. I named it Creative Astrology because I am an artist, and when I started Creative Astrology, I had just gone through my Saturn return. I have Saturn in Sagittarius and in the 5th house. And the 5th house is the area of creativity. It is about the heart expressing itself. My voice is a little bit sleepy today because I literally woke up so early because I just couldn't sleep more. And so I just got up, and I have been up since like 4:30 a.m., which tends to happen to me, even though I wasn't able to visibly see the full moon. I can feel it. I can feel the energy is higher, and I tend to sleep less. And I know that that happens to a lot of people. I also saw a very full moon thing last night. I just remember that it was a couple. They didn't realize I was there because it was dark outside, and I was just sitting in this bench under these trees that I love in a park that's close to my home. And I just love the energy of that. Like, there's like a bunch of trees, and it's like, it feels cozy and cool. And this couple, like, they were having a moment, an argument, and they weren't like yelling strongly at each other or anything. Like, the situation felt like much more emotionally charged. I didn't quite understand what was happening, and I don't mean to pry like people's private business, but the thing is, like, I didn't want them to notice me, so I just didn't move. I was like, I know I should go, but I just don't want to interrupt this situation. And it was also just interesting to observe what was going on, and I wasn't sure if anybody's safety was at risk as well. So I was like, I might as well make sure that they're gonna be okay. But yeah, it was clearly very emotional. It was clearly very emotional and intense, and like both very conflicted, and those are the types of things that happen in full moons. But this one particularly is a very profound and intense and deep and potent full moon. And I was just telling you about Saturn and my Saturn journey as well. And this all connects. Saturn is the planet of Aquarius, and Saturn has recently gone retrograde on the 26th, actually, the same day that the nodes shifted to Leo and Aquarius again. Aquarius, Leo, Aquarius, Leo. We are in a moment of these two archetypes are now out and up and on. And welcome to this new era. I'm I mean, I know I sound dramatic, but the thing is, July is an important month in this year. And because of all of this that just unfolded throughout the month. So basically, just to recap a little bit, if you remember, earlier this year, when I recorded an astrology of 2026 podcast, and I told you that, there were certain things certain topics or threads in our lives that in 2025 both ended and to give way to new ones, but those new ones kind of like appeared momentarily or were just like a first version of, or like a first attempt, but didn't necessarily stick. And that was related to all these planets that are initiating new cycles, going retrograde and back to where they were before for years, right? Because outer planets do that. Anyway, the thing is, in 2026, those new chapters of several years, so with Saturn, it's 3 years until 2028, with Uranus is 7 to 8 years until 2032, 33, with what else was it? Neptune is even more. Anyway, we have Uranus, Neptune, Saturn all entering new signs. So these are 3 big things. And then 2026 brings us even more further into the new realities with new cycles that we did not experience in 2025, like actually completely new things, new processes opening up this year as well. So in that case, we have Chiron, which just recently went into Taurus on June 19th. And we also have the shift of the nodes into Leo and Aquarius, which is a cycle that lasts about 1.5 to 2 years, like depending on how we want to see it. Because, for example, like they are the eclipse points, but the eclipses will still start happening in the signs before the nodes shift. So in the case of Aquarius, we already had a first eclipse in Aquarius, which was in February. So this is very important about in relation to, this full moon in Aquarius, because that eclipse in Aquarius, which was on February 17th this year, is the new moon associated with this full moon happening right now. So events of mid-February that you can think of that might be right now showing up, either showing up again or showing some kind of development, maybe a further stage. But the thing is, like with all this Aquarius and Leo energy being activated, and the upcoming eclipses that we're pretty much already in eclipse season, by the way, because like this full moon is like the full moon of an eclipse earlier in the year 6 months ago. And then in fact, we are a couple weeks from having our first eclipse of the second season of eclipses of 2026. So we have an eclipse in Leo on August 12th. So apologies if I'm making you dizzy with all this information right now. It is a lot because July has been a lot. And maybe it has been really good of a lot or a lot of really good for you. And that's awesome because that is a possibility. And it's a lot doesn't necessarily mean bad, but a new doesn't necessarily mean either good or bad either. But we're definitely in a new chapter. And what is Aquarius? Let's talk about that because that's why we're here. Aquarius is the sign of the unaccepted parts of our character. Okay, not just Aquarian people, it's not just that Aquarian people feel odd or alien or eccentric or outside of the norm, and or that try intentionally to be that. Aquarius is also the archetype of the unintegrated or separated or cast aside parts of ourselves, or the castaway elements of a society, right? People that are considered to be breaking the rules, but those rules are maybe questionable, right? And in many cases, they need to be questioned. And that is the archetype of Aquarius, is the one that questions, and that things could be done better, like we don't really need to do this. And Aquarius will rebel. Aquarius will go against. So if you think about the Aquarian archetype in you, that would be the parts of you that are rebelling against the rules that you have self-imposed, that you have learned, that you adopted from family, from upbringing, from education, from society, from the workplace, from the career you developed, from the spaces you inhabit. There are a lot of rules all around us. There are a lot of rules, and a lot of those we can't happily follow. There are a lot of rules that are very useful for the peacefulness of a space, but then there are a lot of other rules that are very questionable. So those parts of our psyche, those parts of us, in a way, are kind of like Scorpionic too, because Scorpio is the shadow side of the psyche. So a little bit of that is but actually quite a bit of that is there's a good cup of Scorpionic energy in the butter, okay, of this full moon in Aquarius, because it is with Pluto. So the full moon is also illuminating the unconscious. So this kind of like electrifying current through our unconscious, which is really highlighted right now, especially with the presence of Jupiter in Leo, literally with the sun, all on the other side of the moon and Pluto, in chilling and rebellious Aquarius. There's like such a big light, like a big, massive, like Jupiter and the sun, a massive desire to find meaning in our heart's expression and to express it and to be big about that. But what is unintegrated in my psyche, unaccepted, alienated, blocked out, left out of myself, that I am embarrassed almost about or afraid to show. And in this era where we're seeing, we're literally seeing like the most crazy contrast happening. I wrote about this too, but it's just that it's a theme. Since Pluto's been in Aquarius, it's been a theme, but like now it's even more, with the nodes now entering Leo and Aquarius. And we have Jupiter in Leo for this entire year until July of 2027. So, and Pluto will be in Aquarius. Pluto will be in Aquarius for several years. So we have like a concentration of energy there right now. And we must not forget that we have Chiron in Taurus, which is it's just started. Like Chiron is literally not even in the first degree of Taurus yet. We are just opening this process that will be about 8 years. This is one of the new things of 2026. Is this process of healing our sense of self-worth, our sense of connection to matter in many ways, our connection to our body, our relationship to our body, and our relationship to the natural world, but also to resources that we carry within, and resources that we have materially, such as money and property. We may be discovering through the next 8 years, right? This is just getting started. So the themes might be just starting to kind of like pulse a little. But the thing is, this full moon is highlighting that Chiron. It's bringing it in. It's challenging it and bringing it into the mix, into the batter of what is being cooked right now, with this full moon, what is being revealed. So do you see some connections there between the cast out or cast away pieces of your psyche that you may feel will be ridiculed or pointed out as, criticized, or else whatever reason makes you feel afraid to show that, and the connection of that with this healing process about your innate worth? Or maybe it has to do with your connection with your body. Like, a potential situation, right, would be like, oh, I want to dress in a certain way, but that would be weird, and I don't want people to see like a certain part of my body, right? Like, that could be a theme. There's this massive desire to be the Leo, to be seen, to show oneself. But you know what I think is really beautiful about this entire thing, like the desire to show yourself, but also having like the contradiction of like, oh, but I don't want people to whatever. The thing is, like, we are being like heavily invited to embrace the parts of us that we may think are not acceptable or will be pointed out. It's such a time of that, like, the entire process with AI developments is making really, really noticeable, is that people crave real more than ever. And how do we distinguish ourselves as, like, for example, I'm a musician. How do I show people that I am a real person, and this is not just a little formula trying to sound acceptable, right? Like, it's almost like we're being encouraged and invited and demanded, like in the sense of like supply and demand, to embrace the weird parts of us, and like actually let them shine, because that is a process of self-healing, self-worth healing, and it may just feel uncomfortable. I don't know, like, things I can think of is because like the transits right now are really hitting for fixed signs, also for Gemini placements, particularly Gemini moons, or mutable moons in general, because we have Uranus in Gemini, are sensitive and feeling a bit of like the call to change, or the call to like, or the restlessness, but like fixed signs, so that would be Leo, Aquarius, obviously, and Taurus and Scorpio are like, yeah, I'm getting really challenged, particularly by this energy, but everybody is. and I think it's beautiful that we get removed like that. We get like shaken and invited to embrace our full humanity. That's what's happening. It's like, hey, like, you can be queer, you can be weird, you can be different, or you actually, please do it. Please do it. Like, please embrace your inner rainbow, right? Like, please question, and do things differently. If you don't want to follow the norm, then why is that? It's because, like, your heart might be feeling, heart is Leo, right? The heart is like, hold on, like, there's things that are not making sense to me right here, right now, in this world, in this society, in this job, in this career, in this family, in this relationship. I People may think it's okay, but I don't think so. And it bothers me. And I'm tired of this. And I need change. And I need it now. And the world is like so starved for genuine hearts. We're so depleted of authenticity in the places that are more visible, right? Like in the places that are where famous and celebrity people are, where the majority of the wealth is, um and there's so much structure that is tying that. It's amazing to see somebody break the rules and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna say this, or I'm gonna do this because it matters for my heart, and I will risk it. I will risk, because that's what Aquarius is inviting us to do. That's that we're gonna have this North Node in Aquarius until 2028, until March 2028. But we will continue to have eclipses in Aquarius and Leo for a little longer than that in the year. But so this is what we're in right now. The nodes are no longer in Virgo and Pisces. That was much more intensified in trusting the flow, and that was so much Pisces still at the beginning of last year. Trust, release, and that was like setting us up for where we are now, which is this much more yang energy of daring and acting and showing what we need to show the world, just like taking action in the things that matter the most to our heart, and really questioning, really embracing the Aquarius spirit of questioning and changing, or bringing change. And I just want to finish with basically what I was hinting at earlier when I started talking about Saturn. When Saturn is retrograde, we are invited. When any planet is retrograde, honestly, we are turned inwards. So the easiest way to understand that is with Mercury retrograde. Like, the mind turns inward and examines or remembers or double checks, or is more reflective. So what in the case of Saturn, what that means is reviewing our structures internally. And in the area wherever we have Aries in our chart, because Saturn is in Aries right now. But in general, it is about questioning internally our inner structure, which most of the time, the inner structure has to do with beliefs that we have about the rules that limit us or that contain us, however we want to see it. Because, boundaries are limiting, but can also be healthy. So within what structure am I operating, and what can I restructure, question, and, replace? Because Saturn will be retrograde for a few months. And this happens every year, by the way, every single year. We have and it's been happening in the second half of the year. for a while. So it's just like something like, think about what tends to happen in the second half of the year. It tends to, it's yeah. Anyway, and I'm gonna leave you with a note on something I've been thinking about for a very long time, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it, because as I mentioned, and maybe you already knew, but I am an artist, and I started creative astrology with the intention of um, combining these two worlds in some way. And I did some paintings with the zodiac signs. I've been creative in the way that I present astrology to groups and organizations. But something that I've always wanted to talk about is the creative journey itself. Because I'm a late bloomer. I'm 39, and I only started performing music like 3 years ago. I mean, I've been playing and singing since I was little, but I never performed like officially, or even if it's just like playing out in the street. I never did that until only 3 years ago. And the journey has been a lot of healing, and having my Saturn in the 5th house, and in Sagittarius, I feel that I have a lot to share about that. A lot to share about that. And so I will be uploading some episodes about that. And I hope that that is inspiring to you, and I hope that it serves a purpose, you know? Because I think, at least for me, like, again, it's my Saturn journey. It's my like kind of like life journey, and it's really important, especially for creatives right now, to, you know, embrace the invitation to be disruptive to the machine, you know, be challenge the rules and challenge the current systems. It is really a time for artists to be loud. So I really want to, you know, as an artist and an astrologer, support that process, because I know how scary it can be, you know? Anyway, I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the conversation on the full moon. I would love to know how you're doing. Send me a message over Instagram or the email, whatever works for you.